What's up, people? It's your boy Levelhead back with another video. I'm just sitting here thinking about Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch. And as days grow closer to the reveal, and as more information seems to leak by the day, now I know that we have to take this with a grain of salt, but looking at the sources that a lot of this information is coming from, and the fact that they have been on point thus far with most of their announcements, it's hard to write off when certain people say certain things. Like, you know, I want Zelda at launch, but it's looking like it probably won't happen based on the credibility and track record of some of the individuals who are saying it, who also said the Switch was going to be what Nintendo was doing, and they were right. Now I'm holding out hope that Zelda winds up at launch, but if it don't, hopefully the Mario game that they say might be there is ready to go and as great as we all imagine it to be, especially since it's going to be ground up for the Switch. So that might be a game changer. But looking at what Nintendo is doing and what all the rumors and testimonials suggest, we have developer studio after development studio, third-party development studio, all singing in harmony the same exact type of praises. Just heard about Dark Souls 3. Supposedly their developers are happy with the results that in their experience with, I guess, Switch dev kits. They said that they have Dark Souls 3 up and running, and they're happy with how it is running. They're still not going to say that they're in full support of the Switch. They need to look at and see sales and things like that. And that's going to play into what I'm going to talk about. Excuse me, trying to get this fling out my throat. But we've heard Bethesda sing the praises. These are companies that have never looked in Nintendo's direction. Now, if this was EA and just Ubisoft, then I will have calls for pause. Like these are companies that always seem to say one thing, and then when it's time to deliver, I won't say this about Ubisoft, but especially EA, they don't deliver. And this is not like with the Wii U when we had this montage of third-party developers all talking about the possibility of a second screen. That was on Nintendo's budget and time. These are third-party developers talking, being interviewed by sources that have no real ties to Nintendo, and they're still singing the praises of the Switch. So that's one thing that makes me pause and like take note. Then the fact that with the rumors and different things, that Nintendo seems to be future-proofing their system. The whole idea that Nintendo is going to be using the advanced USB-C connection for power and streaming and whatever, that's amazing to me. As I look and research into this particular style, you know, what some that Apple uses and other companies are using, it's future-proof. Now, I don't know all the details of it, but just reading a little information on it, that little that I have gathered, this is wise of Nintendo to do. Then to hear the ideas about the docking stations being made cheaply so that they can be placed in multiple rooms, so that when you cannot access your main room, let's say your kids are watching cartoons or your wife is watching a movie, so you undock the Switch and say you play on the handheld right there on the screen, right there on the Switch tablet, and you're tired of playing that way, but your wife is still watching a movie, you can go into another room, dock the Switch, and go back to gaming. No need to be so that means the Switch and the docking station are not interlocked with each other, meaning you had to have the docking station that the Switch came with. This is all future proofing. And it goes to an idea that I heard D2K bring up, is the fact that in the future they might even make, and this makes more sense, that if the Switch works, is successful, that the upgrade to the tablets, and you got all these multiple docking stations. There's just a lot of future proofing going on with Nintendo. There's a lot of praises from third party. So if I was to take all this as it's gonna be a reality and it's gonna happen, then I can say at this point, we can't, I'm saying this, to ask a question. If Nintendo does do all this, and this is all true, then that means Nintendo has done their part. They have listened to our cries. They have listened to our complaints. They have addressed the issues. They have addressed the issues of perception. They have addressed the issues of power and capability. And they have addressed the issues of third-party support. If everything pans out as what we're hearing and seeing before our eyes, then that means they did their part. So my question is, will you do your part as a gaming fan, as a Nintendo fan, and as a gaming fan in general? As a Nintendo fan, we didn't buy the Wii U's. Yes, 13 million bought it, but I believe that Nintendo has a bigger fan base than 13 million. Matter of fact, the 3DS will say as much, that Nintendo has a bigger fan base than 13 million. So that means somewhere in this relationship, we didn't buy into the Wii U. And because we didn't buy into the Wii U, and it was Nintendo's fault because Nintendo didn't do what they should have done with the Wii U. Some of us bought it because we are avid Nintendo fans, but some Nintendo fans saw it and looked at it and said, no, I just don't see it. They didn't buy it. They had a lot of complaints. They didn't buy it. They wanted to see some things changed, see some things answered. Nintendo didn't answer those questions, so they didn't buy it, all right? Then you have those who are gamers who will buy Nintendo if they answer some questions like my boy K-Bum. There's some things they want to see Nintendo change and address. If Nintendo changes and address these things, then they will be interested in buying it. Now, if everything pans out with the Switch, that means Nintendo addressed a lot of the concerns and the failures of not only the Wii U, but a lot of the concerns and the failures that have been following and tracking with Nintendo for several years to decades now. Will you do your part if everything is answered, if everything lives up to what seems to be the case right now? Will you then go out and spend your money and get the Switch and support the Switch? Not only support Nintendo first party, but support the third parties that seem to be interested in the Switch and that's going to bring their big titles over. Will you do your part? That's the question I want to know. Because Nintendo can do all this stuff, and if it pans out like it seemed like it might, the Switch is going to be a great system that's going to be very attractive. But will you go and would you do what you need to do by buying it? Not only buying it, supporting the games that come to it, not just first party, but third party. Will you do your part as the consumer? That's my question. That might be a crazy question. I don't know. I was just thinking. Seems like Nintendo might be answering all the questions that we have had. Right now, it's still a wait and see. January 12th can't get here fast enough, in my opinion, and we only got like maybe 4 more weeks before we'll see the Switch in its totality. And if it lives up, if it pans out, my question is, will you do your part, Nintendo fans? And will you do your part, gaming industry, gamer fans in general? Or will you find a way to make an excuse to not support this system anyway? That's my question. That's what I want to know. Because they doing it, folks, in my opinion. I didn't think this was going to work, but it seems like it's working. It seems like this system is going to be pretty powerful. It's going to be pretty much an 8th gen capable system on the go. This is amazing, folks. And with the technology that's out with TVs and things like that, I just bought me an HDR 4K Sony X850D mid to high range HDR TV, upscales all my content to 4K, and I experienced HDR with my PlayStation 4. And there's a strong possibility that there probably will be some HDR functionality with the fact that Nintendo has teamed up with NVIDIA. I would believe that there'll be some HDR functionalities with the Switch. So Nintendo is really future-proofing this system, I believe. So my question is, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go out and do your part as a Nintendo fan? And if you're not a Nintendo fan, but you call yourself a gaming fan, are you gonna find another reason not to support Nintendo, even though they have addressed most of the concerns that you have? That's my question. I would love for you to answer that in the comment section. Make sure you tune in to fulleffectgaming.com. Check us out over there. Read our articles or posts. Stay tuned for a Live and Level Gamers podcast up on tomorrow. This is your boy Levelhead signing out till next time. Deuces. Peace.